Let's look into how we can start moving more things into our Vuex store. And the thing we're going to try to move in now is the actual firestore. So the data we're grabbing here in our created here, we're going to take this from this lifecycle hook and put it into Vuex instead. The good thing about this is also once we actually do this, it will also automatically update system out here. So if we go out here and delete a bagel somewhere, we have to refresh the page and stuff. And we can of course set up our own to do this, to have this refresh with different ways. But if we just use Vuex, this actually watches for changes in our data. So if something happens, it's going to pass down the new information to the component using data from the Vuex store and then automatically re-render the page or the component using this. So we can just use this for, that's one of the many good things about it. But that's what we're going to try to do as the first thing. We're going to try to grab this here and put this into our store instead, and then by using getters and actions and mutations and so on, to actually print out the value or the data again to the admin component. First thing I want to do is, if we go to our store, it should look like this. And we kind of want to set up a getter down here. We're just going to set it up a little bit, I don't know, maybe not straightforward, but the first thing I want to do is I want to set up a getter for my new, go away, there we go, for my new item here. So how I will retrieve my items through my component from Vuex. And just like before, I have a get basket item we use for the menu, where we're grabbing the item from that one. We're going to create a get menu items like this. So similar name to what we already have with our menu items. And we're going to use the state as before, so totally similar to the other one, where we're going into the state up here, that we will set up in a little bit, and grab the information up there. We're going to call this menu item, just like you have in your the other one. If you go back here, so menu item, same name here, right? Because we already set everything up through our loop. Awesome. So this is the first thing we need to do in our store here. The next thing is, of course, if you scroll up again, we're going to set up an array up here to store everything in. So as you would before, like with our basket items, this you can, if you don't want this, you can remove this. It's just a placeholder information we have. But after our basket here, I'm going to create my menu items like we have in the other one. This is also going to be an array, and I'm going to leave this as an empty array. If you want to have test items, if you want to have that in, just basically copy this and put this in if you need this in your to test with, of course. The thing I want to do is I want to set up a action down here. So not straightforward into a mutation, but we want to set up the action so it goes from action to mutation to changing the state. So again, action and mutation is similar, I explained this before, but we want to put it down here, and then we want to use in our admin.vue, we want to use the dispatch to call in the action, which will then trigger the mutation, which will then change the data, or if the data is updated, then do that, of course. But in here, do after a comma separation after your the first one here where we set our users last time or previous video, we want to call this set menu items. Well, I want to call it this, maybe you don't. And in here I'm going to use the context as I did up here, that's how it works, and I'm going to use the fat arrow notation to create my the ECMAScript way of creating a function, so we can use this keyword as well. And in here I'm going to use the context as before, context like we have here, and I want to use the commit, so committing the changes that we're going to set up. And what I want to do is I want to use the set menu item. So this will trigger that one here, sorry, our mutation once we created this up here in a little bit. But this is the thing we need to, for now, to just set up. So we have our getters that will get our empty, right now empty array, but we will populate from firestore. And then we have our action here that will commit and trigger into our mutations up here that we haven't created, which we will in the next video. And then we'll push this in here into our admin, where we will use our dispatch and do the, just like down here, where we're going to be using, I can't remember where it is. Where is the get from store? It's gone now. Well, get from store. There we go. No, I can't remember. It's probably in the menu items. But yeah, we did this in the previous video, and we're going to do a similar thing in the next video. All right, see you then.